Hello and welcome. This is Just the Way It Is. My name is Carl and this is episode 6 of a series of videos all about multi-strada ownership and what you can expect if you buy a multi-strada. The problems you encounter, servicing costs, maintenance, repairs, looking at suspension, brakes, steering, touring, screens, seats, a whole range of things. However, if you've watched episode 4, you'll realise that my initial plan of how things were going to proceed in terms of the episodes and the content changed because of a problem I had. Go back and watch that one. And this is another strange one. It's not at all what I had planned, but this is the nature of life and things just change. So let me bring you up to date. So in the last episode, we'd fixed the bike. We had some problems with the gear selector springs and it was time for service. So she's now been in and she's had the next intermediate service, which is the 12,000 kilometre service, which is the minor service, which is really just oil and filter and a check over. And yeah, what happened? Well, I booked in advance a road test of the new Multistrada V4 with no intentions of buying a V4. And I also booked at the same time to go for a ride on the new Monster, the new 937. So I got there, dropped the bike off early in the morning, in for the service. And as you'll recall from the earlier videos, I'm more than capable of doing my own servicing repairs, but I want that stamp in that service book to maintain the value of my bike. So I had the road test of the Multistrada V4. Lovely, very, very nice. And if you've got the money, just go and road test one and buy them. They're absolutely fabulous. They're really good. I took out the Monster and that was a real surprise. Absolutely stunning bike. Really, really nice. And the price point, 11,000 thereabouts, euros, pounds, US dollars, all fairly similar. It's an amazing bike. Really comfortable. The seat is fabulous. The riding position's great. The engine's got enough. It's 115 horsepower. It's not like riding a multistrada. And if you're used to a big bike, you get to the point where you might want a bit more. But for everyday riding, B roads, they're fabulous. The one thing that would stop me buying it is a lack of cruise control. I don't have cruise control on this. I use one of the Palm Assist grips on here on the big tours. But for such a modern bike with the whole electronics package, not to have cruise control, it's obviously a decision that they've made in marketing not to fit it, but that is a deal breaker for me, not to have cruise control. However, I wasn't thinking of buying one, but it was really interesting. So what happened during the service? Well, the service went fine. No problems, everything okay, as you'd expect. However, in their used motorbike section, while I was there road testing, it took them longer than I anticipated. They were a bit behind with their workshop schedules, so I was there for about 4 or 5 hours. I took out the V4, I went for about 40 minutes, fabulous bike. Took out the Monster, a slightly shorter road test, half an hour. Really, really nice. I'll put up some pictures if I've got them on my phone. I think I have, so you can see me on the bikes. The Monster's quite a small bike, but it handles superbly, really, really, really good, a nice surprise. But in the used bike section, they had another range of multistradas. They had the one on from this, which is the 1200 DVT. They had some 1260s. And as I had the time, it was a lovely day, I took out some other bikes for a ride. And I'm sad, well not sad, surprised to say, they had a couple of BMWs. Because the dealer is one of the oldest dealers for Ducati, that is in Germany, they've got quite a big showroom. So they're a Kawasaki dealer and Ducati, which seems quite a common pairing. And they have a lot of people trading in bikes from all the other brands. And they had an R1250R BMW. They had the old 1200, which is a roadster, and they had a HP version, which is the blue and white version of the new 1250 motor. Now, I've ridden GSs before. I've tried the old air-cooled, the water-cooled, the modified water-cooled 1200s, but I've never ridden a 1250. So I asked if I could go out for a test ride, no problems. And I was shocked. I was shocked. It was absolutely superb. So we're talking about the BMW R1250R Roadster in blue and white. They do various colorways, but this was the HP spec. The bike that I rode didn't have very many packs on it, so it didn't have the quick shifter, it didn't have cruise control, but it was fabulous. It was a really nice bike, and I was really shocked how well that bike went. And I can tell you that the grunt from that 1250 engine in the setup they've got with that lighter setup with the Roadster was a surprise, and it's faster than the Multistrada for your average riding. And even when you get a move on in the twisties, because that weight's so much lower, it was a bit of a surprise. So what am I doing? Well, I had no plans to change my Multistrada. As you would have seen from all the other videos, she's beautiful. I've done a lot of miles. I can ride all day, 11, 12 hours, and have no aches and pains. However, with coronavirus, a lot of things have changed. So we'd originally planned, we belong part of a bike club in the village, and we do tours every year. Sometimes they're short tours, 5 or 6 days, sometimes they're longer tours. And we've been trying to get to Norway for the last 2.5 years. And we'd planned to go in 2020, and due to coronavirus, we had 3 days notice. It was a pretty horrible experience for us all. 3 days before we were due to go, which was on the Friday afternoon, there was an announcement by Norway saying all the borders were shut, so our 2.5 week tour was cancelled, and we had just 3 days to come up with a different tour, which we did. However, with coronavirus and the implications and the restrictions and the border closings and the infection rates and so on, the type of riding I've done for the last 2 years has changed. So I'm not going on those great big tours. I'm not going to other countries, which is what I originally planned La Rosa was going to do. So there's another twist to the story, and I think I've mentioned this in an earlier video, so I'll try and keep on point about this. My wife's a motorcyclist, and before I changed to the Multistrada, she didn't have her own bike, wasn't interested, happy to come on the back of the bike once a year, maybe twice, that was probably it. But once we got the Multistrada, she came on the back, we got top box and panniers to go with it, and her experience or her joy from sitting on the back of a motorcycle changed overnight. And in our first year, which was 2019, we did 3,000 kilometers, the two of us on this one. And it really started to change how we as a couple interact with regards to motorbikes. And then we moved forward a year, so 2020, which was last year, we started the season off again. She came quite a bit on the back, and I think sometime in April, she announced that she'd had enough sitting on the back and she wanted her own bike. So this is what the little KTM's for. So I don't have 2 bikes, I have one, and it needs to do everything. But it changed, and that was a wonderful, unexpected change I hadn't anticipated by having a Multistrada, that my wife would become reinvigorated and more interested in having her own bike. So in May of last year, April, May, June time, we got the small KTM 390 Duke. So my wife has her own bike. So when we go out for short tours, 1, 2, 3 hours, she goes on her own bike. She doesn't come on the back of this anymore. So that's another reason, or another thing that I was thinking, do I really need to keep the Multistrada? The reason I'd hoped to get it, we could do touring together. Now she's got her own bike. I don't need all the luggage space. With coronavirus, I think that's going to continue for a bit. We're not doing the big tours that we planned. So I'm in a bit of I'm not sure what to do. So I'm gonna have a couple more road tests. I've organised a long weekend hire of a brand new 1250R. That's the Roadster version in a strange colour, but that's what the BMW dealer's got. I'm going to have it for a long weekend. I think I'm negotiating the kilometres I can use. I'm hoping to get 500, but it might just be 300 kilometres. Give it a ride and see what I think. So I'll let you know. I don't know what's going to happen. I might have it for the weekend and decide it's not for me. But I can say I was really shocked in a very positive way how well the new 1250 engine works in the Roadster setup. The gearing's very different to the GS, the weight's very different to the GS. You don't have all that fairing and the screen and the wind protection, and that will be a negative in terms of big tours. We're still planning to go to Norway, so I need to have a good think. So if you've got any comments, any suggestions, stick them below and I'll try and answer them. I still hope to do and continue with the series on this. It may just be a fleeting fancy and I'll have it for the weekend and not do anything with it, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next episode.